Welcome to Afternoons on 11. I'm your host, Christine Buck. It is the first day of the new year. 2016 is here, and it is time to work on those resolutions. It's a brand new start to discovering a brand new you. The ball has dropped and the parties have stopped. A new year, a new me. It's the phrase tons of people are using heading into every new year, and it starts with making resolutions. At the top of a lot of lists, losing weight and getting in shape. It's a goal weight loss coach Charles D'Angelo knows all too well.
At 17, I weighed 360 pounds. I felt miserable and no self-esteem. Getting out of a chair was a challenge for me. I knew I had to take action. I was able to totally transform my life, losing 160 pounds and inspiring thousands of others to do the same in their own world.
Too often we fall short of our goals. However, Charles is here to explain what it really takes to keep those New Year's resolutions. So let's welcome weight loss coach and fitness expert Charles D'Angelo to the show today. Hi, Charles.
Christine, good to see you again.
Is that all your title is, or are there a whole lot more?
I really like to think of myself as a coach because I'm not a dietitian, I'm not a nutritionist. My focus really, having weighed 360 pounds at one time in my life, is all on mindset. Because how many diets are there out there? How many times year after year do people go to a gym or go to the store to buy a new book, and they find themselves doing well for a while, only falling back into that defeat whirlpool, having really made a little bit of progress, and then their fear overcomes them and they're back into that old cycle. So I help people really disconnect emotion from the equation so they become totally effective.
There you go. And it's a new year, so Happy New Year.
It is. Happy New Year to you.
And so there's probably, it's always the thing, right? That people say, this year I'm going to do it.
Yes.
And I think studies show that it lasts maybe, a couple of weeks before
you can look
at
at a gym or anywhere. I mean, look at the people that come in and then they're not there in May.
Yeah. So what should they do if they call you to get help? That's not a sign of weakness, that's a sign of strength.
Absolutely. First, seeing where you are is critical. A lot of people, if you want a guaranteed bad review online, tell someone to take responsibility for their health. Because when I tell people, hey, it's not your genetics, it's not your history, it's not your environment that has made you look and feel the way that you look and feel. I'm not trying to blame you. I'm trying to empower you to recognize that you hold within yourself the power to change everything. Because think about it. If you tell yourself that it's your history, that it's how your parents raised you, that it's how your spouse treats you, it's the neighborhood you live in, it's the lack of financial resources. Well, what you're telling yourself really at a very unconscious level is, for me to change, all these other things would have to change. And think about how disempowering that is, because you're essentially saying, I have absolutely no control over my destiny. So you have to see where you are, and then the next step is see how you want things to be. So see where you are, see where you want things to be, and what I help people to do is close that gap.
Right. So for you, it came in the form of not blaming it on your genetics or this or that. It actually was a real scare, a deep scare that your health was fading and that you better do something, right?
I had all of the people around me warning me that if I continued in the direction I was headed, the destination would be catastrophic. I went to CBC High School here in town, and then after that onward to St. Lucia University, where I earned my psychology degree. But when I was in high school, that was the time I was morbidly overweight. I weighed 360 pounds. Getting up a flight of just 3-4 stairs was a challenge.
Do you remember what it was like to sit and eat? And
vividly.
Eat and
I don't remember.
Do you remember what you were thinking? What was your thought process?
Absolutely, certainly.
What was your thought process? I don't care.
Survival. No, it was not that so much, because at that age, I was dealing with my mom, who was struggling with alcoholism, my father, who was striving to make ends meet for 3 children while my mom was ill. She was in and out of the hospital back and forth. So for me, it was just, okay, I need to do something that's easy. So what was easy? McDonald's, Burger King, Jack in the Box. So it wasn't so much for me the idea of, oh my gosh, I'm getting just so excited about the taste of this food. It was, what can I do just to give myself some energy? So I lacked really strategy. It wasn't that I was driven so much by my emotion, other than what's going to change how I feel now. And I didn't know that the choices I was making were actually robbing me of my future. Right.
Well, you mentioned the things that were going on in your household with your parents. So at that point in your life, as a young person, were those the things you were blaming it on?
Blaming, I think in retrospect I could say so. Yeah. Probably at 14 you do. You say, well, the reason I am the way I am is because of this. Right. But it was the acknowledgement, and I think that's what led to the development of my program that now has helped thousands and thousands of people, in that if you want things to change, all those things don't have to change. If you want things to change, the only thing that has to change is you.
Right. So you did change because you scared yourself to death because you felt like
Pain
you were
is
going blind,
yeah,
right? Because
pain
you were
is a
eating so
wonderful
much
motivator.
sugar and overload.
There was a wonderful episode. I don't know if many people would characterize it as wonderful, but looking at it, it certainly raised the awareness that I had to do something. I was 360 pounds. I had drank 2 liters of regular soda. I had scarfed down an entire pizza, a box of breadsticks, and I dozed off to sleep. I woke up in the middle of the night kind of in a quasi-sleep, and I couldn't see the television. I looked off, and it was all blurry. It wasn't blindness like black. It was just blurriness. Rubbed my eyes. It scared me a little bit. I fell back to sleep. The next day I'm in class. I break out in an unbelievably cold sweat. My heart is just racing in my chest. And I remember the nurse came by and she saw me and I was just beet red. Sweat was dripping off my forehead onto the desk. And she said, I want to take your blood pressure, and I wouldn't let her. So all those things considered, it finally occurred to me, look, if you don't make the changes that you know you should, most of us know we need to do something, that an apple is better than a Snickers bar, that you may not live to see your high school graduation. Yeah, it may not taste necessarily better, but I am here to say this. You know, it's wonderful when you actually disconnect, because you do recognize the things that are healthy do taste a lot better than that junk.
And we also should mention that you also are an author. You wrote a book about your program,
Think and Grow Thin. Yes, it was endorsed by Tony Robbins, Bill Clinton, Richard Simmons, and in it I outlined specifically how to go through disconnecting your emotion from food. So doing the right things, the things we know we should, becomes almost reflexive.
And in your program, it's repetitive. It's the same thing every day in terms of the meals. I don't know if that's the case anymore.
I think that doing it such that you know ahead of time. I always say finish your day before you get out of bed. In other words, know ahead of time what you're going to do. And if that means having the same set of foods day after day so that you truly don't look at food in the way you used to, then I'm all about that.
All right. There's so much to talk about.
Yes.
I don't want to leave, go into a break without saying sorry for the loss of your mom.
And I'm sorry for your loss
we
as well.
Both lost our mom right around the same time. And you credit your mom with instilling a lot of the positive go get it and go for it attitude.
My mom inbred in me a vision of myself that I did not have. When I was different as a kid, I didn't like to socialize. I was always interested in reading and everything. She would always tell me, think about where you're going to be 5 years from now or 10 years from now, and I promise you're going to see these people that are bullying you coming to you for help.
Let's look at this video, because you end up in the most incredible places
and that's all God.
These stars. Is that Stevie Wonder?
That's Stevie Wonder, and he was dedicating the song As to my mother. My mom and I had an unbreakable bond, and unfortunately she passed on my 30th birthday. And at the occurrence of my mom's death, I'll tell you, I went through some real dark times where I thought to myself, you know, what's the point? I worked so hard and so long to try to keep my mom around that when I lost her, God called her home, I really just went through a kind of a shadowed period. Well, the next day, God sent Stevie Wonder to town, and he had gotten word, and I credit fully God to that, because I'm here to tell you that often people say to me that, oh, it's because of who he's worked with or that. I'm here to tell you that God is active in each one of our lives, and the signs that he uses to let you know that things are all working for the greater good, if you're alert to them, will astound you. So yes, Stevie dedicated a song to my mom, and also shared how when he lost his mom, he had a dream, and she told him that he had to get back out there and continue to share the love that he shares with the world.
All right, well, you certainly are sharing all of that. You've helped so many people reach their goals. We'll meet a few of them after the break. We know your mom is proud, and
you too.
You know your mom is still around you. We'll be back in a couple minutes. Right? And welcome back to Afternoons on 11. If you're just joining us, we're with weight loss coach Charles D'Angelo, and he has a couple of clients that have gone through the program, Nikki and Jason Lockhart, who also happen to be married, that I assume were very supportive to each other through the process, which has got to be a great thing.
Yeah, it is.
So let's start with your before picture, Jason. Talk about how much you weighed and where you were in life.
I weighed 423 pounds.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, look at them.
I didn't realize I weighed that much, and
there's Nikki.
didn't have that image of myself.
And so you've lost 224 pounds, and Nikki, you've lost 100 pounds. Oh my gosh. I mean,
How long, guys? How long has it been?
It's over a year.
Over a year. And so I saw the picture with you have children?
2 boys.
And what do they think of this?
They're amazed, I think, both of them.
They're enjoying it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're more active. We're a more active family now.
Did you think, were you in a place where it was so cyclical that you thought that there's no way out of this, I already weigh this much, or you just were so unaware, as you mentioned? Would you look at a picture and say, oh my gosh, that's me?
Yeah, now I do.
Yeah.
And I was so unaware. And if Nikki wouldn't have made the appointment with Charles, I would have just kept running right along.
Right. So you didn't resist it when she made the appointment?
No.
Okay.
I made him go with me. Yes.
Yeah.
Did you do
I'm
it?
so grateful, too.
Did you do it because you wanted to lose the weight, or were you getting worried about your health?
I was worried about our health, but with our 2 boys, I'm like, and one of them has autism, so I was worried that we wouldn't be there for him.
Right.
Because we don't know what his future will be. We want to, be there for him.
How old are your kids?
They're 11 and 13.
Okay. Oh, so you're still in the grace period.
Yes.
And so, Charles, when they came in, did you see that these were winners, the people that were going to do it?
I say that every single person that I ever encounter has a capacity. It's never, is it possible? It's, do you have the willingness to pay the price of discipline? And my job when I have anyone come to my office is to help them see that it's possible and to present them with a compelling promise for their future, a vision, if you will, because we know that, I think it was Einstein said that the imagination is a preview of what's to come. So if you can imagine what's possible, and when a person comes to my office, I mean, they're surrounded with all these before and afters,
Sure.
and they see my story. That's one of the reasons that I'm so passionate about doing what I do, because you asked in the last segment, do I remember what it was like? And I remember not only how troubling it was to move at 360 pounds. He had me by 60 pounds. He was heavier than I was. But the similarities are very much the same in the sense that it's not easy to do much of what people take for granted. So the thing that they both had was compelling reasons. Nikki said to me that I'm very concerned about being able to continue to parent.
Right, because it's not only about the two of you. You know, there's the higher good of your family. And I would guess that, how often did the two of you get on the scale prior to going to Charles? Did you get on the scale? No. Had it been a long time?
Yes.
Denial is a huge factor in a person because, again, we have to see the way we are. And sometimes that's painful. Holding a mirror up to yourself.
You what?
I couldn't weigh on the scale.
And
I was too heavy.
And did that, I mean, that has got to be such a wake-up call, so sobering, that you couldn't even get on a scale.
I know. You're over 350 pounds. Even a digital scale doesn't work.
So tell me about the whole journey, and after the first 2 weeks, because you check in with Charles every 2 weeks.
Yeah,
and
good
so
memory.
After the first, I'll never forget. After the first 2 weeks, and losing some weight, it's so encouraging, right? Doesn't it feel good to wake up losing weight instead of feeling like you're still stuck in the same old pattern?
It felt wonderful.
Yeah. He told me I wanted to lose 80 pounds, and he's like, oh no, you can lose 100. And I was just like, you're crazy. But here I am, it's like, it's been great.
And what do you think the saving grace of his program is? Is there still a controlled sort of cheating night that's on this program where you can eat?
No. There's the
Refuel night.
refuel night, the steak refuel night, but it's the consistency. It's having a plan every day. You know what you're going to eat every day, and that's what you got to have is a plan. And the plan gets your metabolism moving and just keeps it rolling. That's like those first 2 weeks. I came in, I lost 35 pounds in 2 weeks.
35 pounds in 2
35
weeks.
pounds.
And then there's
All
some
that
people that
swelling,
will say
everything
that
comes
that's too fast, but the reality is, if you're a person who's been eating all of these foods for so long, right, your body has it all stored, and once you start to get in control, the initial weight loss is very fast.
Well, it's not so much about the rapidity or the speed of the weight loss as it is getting the body back to its healthy point. When a person is at the place Jason found himself, I mean, his schedule was such that he was an overnight truck driver. So from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. was his go time. And so imagine trying to
drive and eat,
live
drive
that
and
way.
eat. Oh,
So-
it's a dream, right?
Yeah, quick trips.
Yeah.
So when a person's dinner consists most often of McDonald's breakfast, it's very easy to see with some small, disciplined, consistent actions. Our goal wasn't to lose 40 pounds in 2 weeks, but when he started eating every 3 hours, only nutrient-dense foods, his body just released all that swelling, all that inflammation, and his weight started to plummet.
All right. Well, congratulations
Thank you.
to the two of you, and happy holidays, Merry Christmas.
thank
I'm sure
you.
you're a really happy family now that you're in a place where you feel so good about yourself.
We do.
Hey, how about a couple more success stories? We'll have them when we come back. Welcome back to Afternoons on 11. We are here with weight loss coach Charles D'Angelo and a couple of more success stories. I'd like to introduce you to Pat O'Brien, who lost 200 pounds, and Zach Bezdek, who lost 92 pounds on Charles' program. Let's look at some of the before and after pictures. Should we start with Pat O'Brien and what he looked like before? Wow, and what do you think when you see that?
Blows my mind.
Does it?
Yeah.
And then after? Here you are. Oh my gosh, it's like half.
Yeah, just
It's like split
me
in
right down the
half,
middle.
Right?
Yeah.
And then let's go right to Zach and see what you look like before. There you are.
I know. Brutal.
Not self-conscious either. And then, yeah, and look at you now. You look incredible.
Thank you very much.
So you said that your mom bought you the book, but somehow you lost it.
Yeah.
I think that maybe you were subconsciously not wanting to
trying
do
to
it.
rip it.
Yeah, maybe. But eventually I saw him on TV, and I'd done other plans before, like the camps and stuff, and they'd never worked out in the past, so what better than to do it in your own environment?
Right.
So
Yeah.
I gave it a shot, and I'm very glad I did.
And the same with you. Did you get to the point where you just wanted to change?
I did, and I went through a similar deal. I went to trainers at gyms, people that I don't think were overweight and understood what it was like to be overweight.
Yeah.
So and then finally, my wife helped me, and we found. She actually found Charles, and.
Yeah, and we've talked about it and we've touched on it, but there's some deep psychology involved with being overweight and getting as heavy as you were. Do you understand what it was that made you get there, what the triggers were, and how you ended up like that?
Yeah, it was very emotional eating and
Mindless eating?
Exactly. I mean, just going to the pantry to go to the sake of going to the pantry.
Yeah. It's like your friend is food or something, right?
Exactly, and you need to separate the two because food is fuel, and that's all it should be used
Right,
for.
and then there's the point of not moving very much. And so I know that with Charles on your program,
There's
it's
cardiovascular exercise. Some people do continue to do resistance training, which I encourage if they have the time. But it comes down to I always use the metaphor of a three-legged stool. Got to have healthy eating, as Pat properly said. Got to have regular activity. Cardiovascular nature is what I prefer, at least first, because a lot of people that come to me, the notion of going to a gym at the state most people find themselves in when they come to my office is embarrassing.
Yeah.
They're
It takes a lot to do, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's exactly
It takes
right.
a lot to do, but it is a sign of strength. It's not a sign of weakness. The weakness is if you keep wallowing in, a
in the story
lifestyle that you have.
Which that third leg of the stool, the food, the exercise, the third leg is mindset. So it's overcoming that story. So for Pat, it was, what do you want your year in 2 years to look like? How do you want to feel? How do you want to look? What is it you want to achieve? Who do you want to spend time with? And when you get really focused on the promise of your future, you're willing to pay the price in the present.
Yeah, I think that is a good point. When you met Charles, were you intimidated, encouraged, overwhelmed? What were the feelings?
Oh, I was totally intimidated.
Okay.
I mean, he's Charles. You know what I mean? He comes out and you're just like, wow, okay, and I'll do whatever you say. Just
I think there's something also that happens psychologically with some people, that when they come to you and if things don't go well, they want to transfer and blame it on you or say, I don't like him.
I had that happen yesterday.
I know, and it always cracks me
Did
up.
they tell you?
But it cracks me up because the reality is, it's not about you.
No.
It's not about you.
No.
But if you want to do that, then go ahead and do it, and call it a day and don't do the program. But you have to get past personalities
Those
and
limits.
things. Yeah,
And
because you're not being judgmental, but you are being strict.
By no means am I being judgmental. What I'm trying to do with every person I encounter is show them what the possibilities are. I had a lady yesterday come in and she said she had a tummy tuck 10 years ago. She's now 70, and she said that steadily year after year her weight's been increasing, and she said, I need to know what I can fix genetically to make this work. And I said, I'm sorry to tell you, but I can't be of help if you believe your genetics are at root of this issue. Now, I'm not saying that some part of this isn't hereditary, but I'm saying the majority part is your habits. And she said, I don't believe you. And I said, that's great. Then go find someone that will believe your story.
Well, obviously, gentlemen, you've changed your habits, and Happy New Year to both of you.
Thank you.
And
Happy
I'm
New
sure
Year,
it'll be a
Shane.
great year for you, and we'll be
Thank
right
you.
back to wrap it up in just a bit. And welcome back to Afternoons on 11. We are with weight loss coach Charles D'Angelo. And if you're not convinced, we have yet one more success story for you. And this is Kevin Amstutz, who lost 100 pounds. Let's take a look at your before picture.
All right.
Okay, here you were. What do you think when you see the picture of yourself before? Wow, you look way different. Way different. So once again, look at you.
Look at him there.
What do you think when you look at that?
Yeah, it's crazy. I still can't believe. I'm still in shock that used to be me.
Well, when you
really.
were a little boy growing up, did you have a weight problem
look-
as a child?
Yeah. Well,
But look at
I
that.
played football my whole life, so I was always lineman, so I've always been the bigger guy. I always had to
Right.
be the bigger guy. And my last year of school, and I was like, this is time. Why not? This is time to lose this weight. and
How
get
old are you,
small.
Kevin?
I'm 22.
You look 22 here.
Thank
but
you.
On those pictures, did you look older?
Yeah, I guess.
The
Yeah.
weight can do that.
Yeah.
to you.
The
It's
weight does
weird.
do that to you. So your mom said, hey, Kevin, this
It's
time you're going
to
to do it.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
About to end school. I mean.
So
this is
you
the
were
perfect
in
time.
school, though, and you went away to school?
Yeah, that was the most difficult part.
Were you scared that you were going to fall off?
I wasn't really scared. It was just kind of like challenging,
A little
I guess, for
uncertain.
me. Yeah, a little uncertain. So I was kind of excited for it because like it kind of made me like more dedicated, and I was
Okay,
like, all
that's-
right, I can do this. I
You
can
had the
do
right,
this.
positive
yeah, 'cause
attitude.
I started with Charles this summer, and I got 60 pounds down. I was like, I can do the last 40. And I was like, I can do this by
And you
myself.
have enough
Let's do it.
elasticity in your skin because you're so young that
He
you
looks
don't have to
fantastic,
worry
doesn't
about
he?
stuff. Because there is that issue for a lot of
Oh,
people,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
That lose a whole lot of weight if they can't afford surgery. That's tough, but it's
Can
better
be.
to be.
When
know.
you're young, he's has the advantage, of course, the resiliency of the skin that you mentioned, and also when you get it after you've lost all the weight. If you get into some weight training, I mean,
Yes.
I have never had any type of surgical procedure to remove any skin, so
Right.
it's remarkable how your body will respond if you'll do the work.
Right, if you do the work. So you did
Yeah.
stuff over the phone with Charles?
Yeah.
And how do you stay accountable? Do you get on the scale?
Yeah, I had to take a picture while I was on the scale and send it to him, and then we'd FaceTime right after.
No
and there's-
lying, right?
No, you couldn't cheat because there's
Reagan
the
said,
picture.
"Trust but verify."
Did you have ups and downs, or did you stay the course? pretty much?
I would say there was a couple weeks where it was kind of slow, but it was incredible how my mom called me an incredible shrinking man. That's
Oh,
what
she
she
must
called
be
me.
so proud of
Oh,
you.
she can't.
Yeah.
She's-
Now, finally, the thing I think that is so intriguing about this program and losing weight the way you do on your program is the concept of time. Didn't it go fast?
so fast. It took me 5 months to do this, which was
And that's the part that.
No pills, no surgery,
And then
all
people
real
will say,
food and
well, you know,
exercise.
you just tell people what to eat, but you don't tell them how to change their lifestyle. But that's not true, because
That's not
if
at all
you
true.
do something over and over and over, you do end up changing your lifestyle.
oh yeah, it
because
was
you don't end up doing that mind.
yeah. Every day I wake up and I was like, when do I run? That was
Yeah.
the first thing I was like, I'm running. That was the first thing. Before I do anything, I gotta run.
All right,
That's
so you
on
tell
my
people,
mind.
pick up the phone, call Charles if you want to do it.
Oh yes, do it.
And how do they get a hold of you?
You can go to my website, charlesdangelo.com.
Mm-hmm.
You can call my office at 314-495-3228. But the most important factor is we live in an unprecedented time of opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing that can stop you from achieving your goals if you'll remove those mental limits. And that's
You're
what I
right.
help people with. I'm not a dietitian, not a doctor.
Not a whole
This
lot of
isn't-
excuses anymore with technology.
Absolutely none. And if you're willing to change your mindset through working with me, I promise that anything you can conceive, if your heart is willing to really buy into it and you're willing to do the work, I'm here to tell you it's possible for you.
There you go. Just go to our website at kplar11.com. You can learn how to get a hold of Charles for more information. And on this first day of the new year, I want to wish everyone a happy new year. And you said, Kevin, just pick up the phone and call if you want to change this year.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank
thank you.
You did a great
Charles.
job. Oh, my pleasure.
It's great seeing you.
Good seeing
All
you,
right.
Christine.
See you later.